So for the most part, Prismatic Evolutions has really been doing nothing recently other than just going down or sideways in value. The reason for that being is because we've gotten a lot of supply in a very short amount of time. We've gotten reprints from Costco, Sam's Club, and seemingly we're going to be having another one here pretty soon with Costco. Apparently, there's going to be another 150,000 plus units showing up with the ETB and the booster bundle of Prismatic Evolutions. So that is definitely going to contribute to prices probably either staying sideways or going down a bit further. But there is one product out of all of these, the regular ETBs and these other ones that have been just going sideways or down, there's been one that in the past month has actually done nothing but go up. It's been the Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box. Now, I think I made a couple videos on my channel showing you guys I had purchased some of these locally from these reprints. I bought some from the first reprint. I bought some from the second reprint. And we are maybe a month or two after the second reprint. So this was the second reprint right here. So it's been about a month and a half. And what has happened after that reprint, they are back up to $300. You can see here, look at the sales, $300. So yes, these have gone up quite considerably in the past month and a half since being reprinted / restocked. Now, when I made those videos talking to you guys that these PCTBs at this price point was a really good pickup, some people obviously agreed, but some didn't, saying that, oh, it's too expensive still. Well, I mean, here you go. We're literally just a month and a half after that second reprint / restock, and priced are at $300. You could have bought these at $210 to $220 on the second restock. It actually went a bit further down than the first initial restock. You can see here it went down to like mid 230s, but on the second one they went down a bit further because from the first reprint they didn't retrace back up high enough, and you can see here now it's gone down, or at this time it went down to here, and I was like, you guys, what are you doing? If you're not buying these, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. It was honestly, surprising they even restocked this twice. And if you didn't buy in the first one, I told you guys, this second restock you have to buy if you're going to plan on buying at all, because I said the chance they restock it 3 times, 4 times is more unlikely, right? Maybe you could have argued from the first restock that they might do it again, because I'm pretty sure that has happened before, like a second restock, but a third one, a fourth one didn't seem as likely. And the fact that Pokemon also has to print all these other stuff, restock all these other products, buying from a second restock seemed pretty safe, and especially when it went down to basically its all-time lows, it was a pretty good opportunity in my opinion. So I bought some more, and hopefully you guys did, because now they're at $300. So let's just say you didn't buy them on the restock, okay? Maybe you didn't have the money, maybe you're skeptical, whatever it is. Now they're at $300. Do I recommend buying these at $300? It's kind of hard to say, to be honest, because I still think there is a very low possibility that these get restocked again, but it's always out there, right? Nothing's impossible, but it just seems highly improbable that will happen. But obviously, we have to keep things sort of, simple when I'm making these predictions, based on the assumption that these do not get restocked or reprinted heavily 1 or 2 more times. Let's say they don't get restocked or whatever after this. I think it's still a buy, because in 1, 2, 3 years of time, I don't think you're going to be upset that you paid $300 for a Prismatic Evolutions PCTB. A big indication of this is 151. Now, I know 151, we can try to compare sets and say they're different because 151's first gen, this is evolutions, people like 151 more. We can make all these comparisons, but when you see a 151 PCTB that's not 2 years old yet, that's $900, it makes you think about $300 being a little bit cheap, right? So I still think, $300, even if they do restock or reprint again, whatever, I don't think it's a bad price point at the end of the day. So I still think it's a fine buy, but obviously buying right after these restocks would have been a much smarter idea, which is what I did, and why I haven't paid $300 for any PCTB. I was paying $210, $220 for these PCTBs, and I was buying them locally. So that's what I would have done. But if you haven't done that, whatever the reason may be that you didn't buy these, and now you're having to obviously pay a premium for waiting, I still think it's a fine buy if you had to buy some, and maybe now you have the money, maybe you liquidated some stuff. it's not a bad idea long term to hold these. Even if they restock these, don't sell them. Don't be scared. If anything, you should just take that opportunity again if they do restock these. But I still think long term 300 isn't a bad price point. Now moving on, and this is something I wanted to talk about here, is like the case premium with these PC ETBs. Now, case premiums obviously are a thing in the space that's argued. We're not going to get into that argument, but one thing I did want to talk about with the case premium for these PC ETBs is how much of a premium there is and something to think about. Now, you might be wondering, why is there such a big case premium on the Prismatic Evolutions PC ETBs? Because if you look right here, the cases are going for $1,800. If you divide that by 4, which is how many ETBs are in each case, it comes out to $450. So you are paying about a 50% premium on each ETB in a sealed case. Why is this the reason? Or the case, which is a bit of a, I guess, unintended pun. These were available to buy case quantity for a short period of time. And once Pokemon realized how many people were buying, they paused. Right, they just paused the supply on the market, and they stopped it, and then they relisted them, and then they were only able to buy in cases or quantities of 2. So there's not as many of cases out there as some other PCTBs. This is when Pokemon started putting stricter limits on products, and most people were only able to order 2. That was including me. I was only able to order 2. So that's why there is a huge case premium, and you're paying 50% more per ETB buying in a case. Now, there are people thinking that this is going to be a crazy, thing to have long term and stuff, and that may be the case. But let me just, logically think about this. You're paying 50% more than a regular ETB. So that means if you're going to buy this case at this premium, you have to think to yourself, do I think this is worth paying 50% more right now? Does that mean it's going to grow 50% and plus more on top of that to be worth it? Because you're paying 50% more on each ETB, because in that way, you could buy a case of these, right, and get 4, but it is a sealed case, or you could buy 6 loose PCTBs. So those are some things you got to think about and for yourself, because I can't tell the future what's going to happen with these, but is right now worth paying a 50% premium on PCETBs? That is something you got to decide for yourself. I can't decide for you because, it is going to be in the future, very hard to predict what's going to happen because there isn't that many of these, compared to some other PCTBs, but you don't know how high of a ceiling these case premiums will go or how they will grow. And that is sort of, I guess, somewhat of a gamble you're going to have to take if you're paying this much more for a case. And these cases, one thing I will say, if you're buying on TCG Player, I would highly recommend asking for pictures, because if you guys do not know, PCTBs, what they do when they ship these cases, they put the shipping label over the product label. What does that do? Sometimes when people tear them off, it's not clean. It takes off the whole label and you can't actually read what's on the PCETB case. And guess what? That is very important. When you're paying a huge premium on a case that's a cardboard box, right? You need the label. You want it to look good. That stuff does matter. It affects value 100%. Because think about it. You're literally paying for a piece of tape and a label, a shipping label. So, or not a shipping label, a product label. So you need that product label to look good. So I highly recommend you guys, if you are going to pay a premium, please ask for pictures. If you buy blindly, you may get a case that might be beat up. You may get a case that has not even really legible a label. That stuff is going to affect value, and if you're paying a 50% premium, you want to make sure you're actually getting a good product. Now, when you go on eBay, you will see how much these are going for. Regular PCTBs, like loose ones, they're going for around 300, so you're not really getting any discount here. But cases, I did find one case which is going for quite a bit less than TCG Player right here. And I actually did click on the seller or the listing, and here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. So you can see here, you are getting quite a discount buying this case on here for $1,600. This is the lowest listed case that I could find anywhere. But guys, look at this. This is the stuff I'm talking about. Look at this, guys. Can you really read what's on here? Like, this might be some sort of, I guess, information about what ETB's in here, possibly. I don't know if they all have this exact code. I'm not sure. They did put PE for Prismatic Evolutions here. But guys, you got to rationally think about this. In the future, whoever you're selling this to, wherever you're selling this, can this be read and be, I guess, in the future, read as a Prismatic Evolution's PC ETB case. Because you're paying, still at this point, you're paying $400 for each. You're still paying $100 more per ETB, like about a 33% markup from just a normal ETB or PCTB. Is it worth it, guys? You got to take that for yourself. But that's why I'm telling you guys, if you buy these, please ask for pictures, because look at this label. This is what I'm talking about. You can't even read this. It's like you're spending hundreds of dollars more, and will someone actually buy this for that much more in the future when you can't even read it? That's what it's up to you. If you want to pay that. For me, I don't think it's worth it. But if you can find one that you're paying maybe a 10 to 20% premium, it's not that bad, then I'd say maybe it's worth it. But when you're paying large amounts of premiums and the case looks like this, to me, it's not worth it. Look for a case that at least you can read it, because that will matter in the future when people are paying thousands of dollars possibly in premiums. If you can't even read the label, what's the point of even having it? Now, lastly, I just wanted to show you guys the normal ETB here. The normal ETB right now is just jumping between 105 and 100. You can see one day it's 105, one day it's 100. Right now it's about 100. It's going to keep bouncing around the normal ETBs. And when we get this Costco, restock that's coming up, it's going to be a generational buy. Pokemon is heavily reprinting Prismatic Evolutions. People have been talking about, oh, Prismatic is going to get printed into the ground. Guys, we are actively in the midst of them printing it into the ground. If you guys haven't noticed, literally within the past 2 months, if we get this one in a couple weeks, there would have been 3 huge reprints of Prismatic Evolutions in just like 2 months. If that's not printing into the ground, I don't know what is. But I've told you guys, this is the 3rd reprint of these ETBs. How many more ETB reprints are they going to do? Are they going to do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ETB reprints? It seems kind of unlikely, because, I mean, think about all the other products they need to reprint, all the other sets. They may print more Prismatic bundles, more collection boxes. That's 100% possible, and they are going to keep printing Prismatic Evolutions. I totally believe that. But ETB specifically, I don't see them reprinting ETBs 5 to 10 times. I just don't see it. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I think it's improbable. In taking your advantage of these prices right now from these restocks, I think will be very good. In the long term, you're going to be like, wow, I'm really happy I bought them, because you don't know when they're going to stop reprinting these ETBs, because we've been getting them in large amounts recently, and prices right now are pretty cheap in my opinion, and especially this upcoming restock, I really think you guys need to take advantage. But that's all I want to say here. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.